remember one, if I can take a little time. Go on. I have to explain this a bit. We were doing a shot supposedly on the beach. This was in a soundstage. In 1958, Rock Hudson's wife set a trap. In their Hollywood home, she asked him one question that changed everything. A private investigator secretly recorded his answer. That tape disappeared for 65 years. When it finally surfaced, the world heard Hudson admit something that could have destroyed him. His own words revealed why his marriage was fake, why powerful people protected him, and why he lived in fear until his death in 1985. This is the conversation Hollywood never wanted you to hear. Rock Hudson's story began in a place far from movie sets and red carpets. He was born Roy Harold Scherer Jr. on November 17, 1925 in Wetka, Illinois. His parents, Catherine Wood and Roy Harold Scherer Sr., were ordinary working people trying to make ends meet in hard times. Wetka was quiet and modest, nothing like the Hollywood world he would later conquer. The Great Depression hit America hard, and the Scherer family felt its weight. When Roy was still just a toddler, his father lost his job as an auto mechanic. Struggling and unable to cope, Roy Sr. left the family. This happened before Roy turned 4. That early abandonment left deep marks on the boy's heart, shaped how he saw the world, and would stay with him for the rest of his life. Things didn't get easier. His mother remarried, choosing a man named Wallace Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald was a retired Marine officer who ruled the house with strict discipline. Roy didn't want a new father, and he certainly didn't want a new name, but he had no choice. Fitzgerald adopted him, changed his last name to Fitzgerald, and expected him to obey. The boy felt powerless. His birth name was taken from him, and so was his sense of belonging. Living under the roof of a man who demanded order and respect at all times made home life tense. These early years were filled with confusion and frustration, leaving Roy desperate for a way out. Even as a teenager, things didn't fall into place. Roy dreamed of acting. He wanted to be on stage, but there was one problem. He couldn't memorize his lines. In high school, this shortcoming cost him role after role. He tried out for plays, but he kept failing. Teachers and classmates saw him as a boy who couldn't cut it in drama. The same struggle followed him when he tried to break into Hollywood. Casting agents weren't impressed by his handsome face and towering 65 frame if he couldn't deliver his lines. Still, he kept trying. Rejection after rejection could have ended his hopes, but Roy refused to quit. That determination would one day make him a star. Before Hollywood gave him a chance, the world called him to serve. From 1944 to 1946, Roy joined the Navy during World War II. He worked as an airplane mechanic in the Philippines. The job wasn't glamorous. It was tough, dangerous, and vital. Mechanics like Roy kept the planes flying, the missions going, and the fight alive in the Pacific. His height, 6 feet 5 inches, made him stand out among his fellow sailors. But it was his work ethic and courage that truly set him apart. The war taught him discipline, taught him resilience, and it prepared him for the battles he would face later in Hollywood. After serving as an aircraft mechanic in the U.S. Navy during World War II, Rock Hudson returned home in 1946. He moved to Los Angeles with one goal in mind: to become an actor. But breaking into Hollywood was far harder than he had imagined. He had no connections. He had no formal training. To survive, he worked as a truck driver, paid the bills, but it gave him no joy. What set him apart was what he did after work. Hudson would stand for hours outside studio gates. He clutched his head shot and resumes, hoping someone important would notice him. He handed out his photo to anyone who might help. Day after day, he showed up despite being ignored or turned away. His persistence was incredible. His desperation was real. In 1947, his luck finally changed. A powerful agent named Henry Wilson spotted his photo. Wilson was famous for turning unknowns into stars. He believed Hudson had potential, but he also believed Hudson needed a total makeover. The first thing to go was his name. Wilson created Rock Hudson. Rock for the rock of Gibraltar to suggest strength. Hudson for the river to suggest power and flow. The new name was strong, simple and easy to remember, but the transformation went deeper. Wilson arranged acting lessons, speech, coaching, dental work, and even posture correction. Hudson didn't like his new name, but he accepted it. He knew it was his ticket into Hollywood. His first film role came in 1948. It was a tiny part in Fighter Squadron. Hudson had only one line, but delivering that line took him 38 takes. He was nervous. He had no experience. The director was furious. He shouted at Hudson, calling him a big dumb tree for standing stiff in front of the camera. That moment could have broken him. Instead, it fueled him. Hudson took more lessons. He worked harder. He vowed never to feel that humiliated again. Later that year, Universal Pictures bought his contract from Warner Brothers. They believed in his potential. They sent him to the best acting teachers. He learned speech, dancing, fencing, singing, and horseback riding. Everything a leading man needed. Slowly he got better. His small roles got bigger. His confidence grew. Universal gave him chance after chance because they saw what he could become. Between 1948 and 1954, Hudson appeared in 28 films. First he played uncredited roles or minor characters, but he kept improving. He started getting leads in westerns and adventure films. By 1952, he was starring in films like Scarlet Angel and Has Anybody Seen My Gal? In 1954, he took on the role of Bob Merrick in Magnificent Obsession and changed his life forever. Hudson played a reckless playboy whose selfish actions led to a doctor's death. Things got even worse when his mistake caused the doctor's widow, played by Jane Wyman, to lose her sight. But the story didn't end in tragedy. His character was filled with guilt and decided to change. He trained to become a brain surgeon and save the woman he had hurt. What's wild is that this role was first offered to Jeff Chandler, who turned it down because he thought it was too soapy. That choice opened the door for Hudson. The film made over $5 million at the U.S. box office, which was massive at the time. Even though critics gave mixed reviews, the movie's bold colors and emotional style made it a hit. Jane Wyman earned an Oscar nomination, and Hudson went from a face in the crowd